Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Troy Hardy with the Auckland Rugby League, and we're being hosted at Grayland Park today, the home of the Richmond Bulldogs, as we get ready for the 2:30 kickoff as Richmond go up against Chevalier. It's going to be a fantastic day down here today. The weather is wonderful. If you are in the area, come and join us. And this game is being viewed by both teams as a must-win game. With the build-up today, we'll have Corey Rosser talking to the two head coaches from both camps. But before that, we get to sit with the legend of the club, Gus, the chairman for Foley Soui, and we'll find out what's been happening around the grounds. Don't go too far away. Back live for the action very, very shortly. So welcome back, everybody, and it's with great pleasure that I'm here with the chairman of the club in his dark sunglasses, because it's always sun shining down here at Richmond. Gus, chairman of the club, let's talk a little bit around the season. What are your thoughts and what's been going right, what's been going wrong?
Thank you very much, Troy. I'm very excited about today. Thank you very much for live streaming our game. It's a must-win game for both of us, as you mentioned, and we're looking forward to it. The boys have been very close in the last few weeks, actually. It's just needed a lot to work on, and no doubt they will put it together today. The club has been going very well this year. We started with the academy, which is a fantastic initiative about 6 years ago,
Yep.
and it continues to grow. This year, at the beginning of the year, and the numbers are still growing. And we're very excited about that, because at the moment we've got a few Fox players that started from the academy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back in those days. So it's really working out for the club. And the other exciting thing is the homework centre, as you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's buzzing around the clubs around Auckland, which is a great initiative. And all the girls are really, and the people in the homework centre are really excited. It's not just rugby league, it's about education as well too, which is great for the community.
Absolutely.
And the homework centre is firing, plus the play group has been going for over 6 years.
Wow.
And the numbers, we're inviting the community, which is very important. We need them. They need us, instead of us needing them. So that's the motto that we're trying to promote.
Hey, look, Richmond's been very innovative, especially with signing off as the chairman today with the girls' game, the curtain raiser. Just fantastic, mate. And, how important is it to have the under-18 Richmond girls on, and what a display they had today, mate?
Oh, it's really exciting. The ladies' game has brought so much to the club, the families, the community together. And right from the under-13s grade right up to the Roses.
Yeah.
It's been really exciting, adding numbers to the club.
Absolutely.
As well too, which is all about community and family. So we're very excited about that too.
Also, being a successful club, especially with Richmond, you've got a lot of history, a lot of tradition here, and you're part of that, mate, is the importance of, your volunteers and sponsors, definitely your sponsors. So I want to talk a wee bit around that. Who have you got this year and who's looking after you?
Yeah, our sponsors are just dedicated people that we love very much. The likes of Divish Kumar at Waterview Laundromat. His ongoing support has been absolutely wonderful in the last few years. Actually, with those guys, we couldn't do anything without their assistance.
Otherwise you'd be washing a lot of clothes at home, wouldn't you?
That's right. And Mickey Bees up at Williamson Ave. We also got Grant Alley at the Grayland Tavern, which is Grant and Alley have been very supportive of the club functions and everything to do with assistance for the club. So LJ Hooker as well too, we can never forget as well too. Always ongoing support for the club has been tremendous.
So, with these sort of sponsors on and, outside of, having the gear branded and them playing and, acknowledging them, the live stream, I know you've been a big fan of the live stream. How important is it to you as the chairman and to the game of rugby league?
Well, it is very important. We have a lot of old members of the club that overseas and everywhere around the country. And when they see, they're still passionate about
Absolutely.
the Richmond
Yep.
colour. And they always wanted to have a look. As you can see, the numbers on YouTube, which is fantastic, Troy.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, to all the Richmond Rover fans that are out there, not just across New Zealand and around, I know you've got a big following in Australia as well, and the UK. Is, your vibe for today's match? What's Gus's football mind telling him?
Well, I have a feeling that we might get a win today, Troy. I think we are due. We're due for a good win, and the boys have been working really hard. We've got a young side, but they are progressing every week. So we're looking forward to a win this week.
Awesome. Well, look, on that note, I want to thank Gus for hosting the Auckland Rugby League live stream unit down here at Grayland Park. Very much appreciated, mate, and thanks so much for the foresight that you've given us with the under-18 girls and allowing to do the curtain raiser for that.
It's a pleasure.
Fantastic, mate.
Thank you very much.
Don't go too far away, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ready now for Corey Rosser to join us as we get to have some insight with the two head coaches from the Premier teams. Right back real soon.
Yeah. Sorry, mate.
Okay, now my pleasure to welcome in Foley Soui from the Point Chevalier Pirates. Well, Foley, probably not the start to the season that anyone at the club envisaged, but do you feel like you've turned the corner after a couple of positive results?
Yeah, no, definitely not. But look, it's part of the journey, journey that we're on at the moment. Look, we're still connecting those dots, and we know what we've got, and we're not too far away. Yeah.
A look at your reserve grade team today, fairly star-studded, it must be said. A couple of big names down there. Now, is that just about those guys finding form, or what's the thinking there?
Well, look, we've got a few boys back from injury today, having their first game, but overall, we go pretty deep in the environment at the moment, and we've made it pretty clear that the guy that's playing the best footy gets the the jersey for the top side. So it's awesome for those young ones, to be rolling with Moe and Ards and company. So it puts the club in good stead, moving forward.
How important has it been having those experienced guys, the Tavita Latus, the Dylan Moseses, around through this rough patch? How important has that been?
Oh, look, it's huge. You can't buy experience. So, like I said, those young boys that we got now are feeding off those experienced boys. And like I said, the effort's been there every week. But I think we've been our own worst enemy, so far this year. And like I said, I don't think we're too far away. Yeah.
You come up against a Richmond side here who are down near the bottom end of the ladder as well. First of all, what are you expecting from the Richmond Bulldogs today?
Oh, look, these neighbourhood rivalries. Every boy that's playing today always gets up for these games. So, look, they've got a great coaching crew. With Junior. Yep. And with Louisa and Ants assisting him. So, look, we're not taking them lightly. This is our grand final today, and I know it is for them. So, we're going to turn up to play footy, and I know the boys will turn up with the right attitude, and it's going to be a good game out there.
You had a victory last weekend, but what do you want to see from your team today, and where are the big improvement areas for you guys?
Oh, look, like I said, we've been our own worst enemy, so if we can put at least 70 minutes of good football behind us today, we're taking out the errors that we keep making, I think it'll put us in a good spot. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, Foley, on behalf of the Auckland Rugby League, thank you for joining us. I believe there's a little shout out you want to do as well.
Yeah, no, sweet. Just want a big shout out to my girls, Jodeci and Neva, and my little boy, Judo Zach. Yep, sweet. Thanks.
Awesome. Nicely said. All right. Well, Foley, all the best for today, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Yeah, cheers, Corey. Thanks, mate. Yep, cool. Awesome.
Okay, we're now joined by Junior Fiu, the head coach of the Richmond Bulldogs. Well, Junior, these are probably the days where probably not a lot of motivating is needed, a local derby game. What's the vibe like in the dressing room?
I mean, Bob's pretty good. We've sort of just been worrying about ourselves. We know what Point Chev are going to bring. So, yeah. I mean, look, sort of defending champs and, yeah, our preparation's really been about us the whole week. So, yeah.
A lot of these Point Chevalier boys you've had stuff to do with, whether in the junior grades or at the Warriors through the junior system. Does that give you a bit of an insight today?
Yep. Again, you sort of, we know what they're aware of, but it's important our boys just sort of focus on their roles and what we have to do to shut them down. So, yeah, I've got some good mates of the coaching staff over there, Foley Soui, who I sort of worked with the reserves for a couple of years. And, yeah, look, it would be good to sort of catch up with them after, but also make sure that we put in a good performance against them. So
absolutely. Now, a big out for you guys today, Chevalier Tupou, who's been one of your better players all year. What do you lose with Chevalier out?
Yeah, he brings a bit of X factor out wide, but you know we've got to move on and sort of just trust the next guy that takes his spot. So we've got Mike Lamuffa from the Warriors filling his spot. So. Yeah.
The season so far, 2 victories to your name. How do you assess how the first, I guess, 3 quarters of the qualifiers has gone?
Yeah, we've definitely had our chances to win games, but you know, we're a young side, and I think it just comes down to inexperience and decision making in those crucial times. So they'll get it. The boys have just got to make sure they keep improving and turning up the training and working hard for each other. So.
What's your outlook for the remainder of the qualifiers? I know you've got a couple of hard games coming up. I mean, you must give yourself a good chance, though. You're within touching distance of safety.
Yeah, it's for us. It's one game at a time. So, yeah. Look, we're not looking too far ahead. We'll just hopefully improve from last week and try and put on a good performance against Point Chev, who are going to be tough. So, yeah.
Point Chev are going to be very tough, and it's an experienced team you come up against today, despite a few star-studded lineup in the reserve game. What do you need to do well today to get over the top of Point Chev?
Definitely their middle. They're always going to be strong at the middle. So, yeah, if we can control the middle and hold the ball, and we might have some opportunities later. But we've got to earn it. So, yeah.
All right, Junior, we've pulled you away from warming the boys up as it is. So we thank you very much for joining us, and wish you all the very best today.
Sweet as. Thank you. Excellent. Cool.
Sav, can you bring those changes over? Can you bring those last changes from Richmond over on your phone? Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, live from Grayland Park here in central Auckland. We're about to bring you the SAS Foxmara Premiership qualifiers clash between the Yortex Point Chevalier Pirates and the home team, the Richmond Bulldogs. You've heard from the two coaches a couple of minutes prior, along with Chairman Gus Fupulier. And thank you to Troy for bringing us that interview with Gus. A bit of an Auckland Rugby League legend is Gus, a real star for the Auckland Premier team in previous years. All right, we're going to run through a few results from last weekend, update you on the ladders before we get into our build-up for this match here. and we're going to start with some results from the second division, the Crown Lift Trucks Fox Championship qualifiers, and it was a big victory for the Ellerslie Eagles, 78-10 over the Papatoi Toi Panthers. The Te Aratu Roosters got up 30 points to 14. The Manukau Magpies winning 32-22. The Waitemata Seagulls 24-16 winners over Ponsonby. Hibiscus Coast got it done against the Otara Scorpions, and the Mount Wellington Warriors edged past Northern Brothers. And the Pukekohe team having the bye for that round will bring up the ladder now for the Fox Championship, as we see on screen. Richmond warming up, and at the top it is the Te Aratu Roosters, who have been near flawless so far this year. Did go down to Hibiscus Coast at the start, but have looked very, very good ever since. Nestled in just behind, it's the Ellerslie Eagles on 15 points. Blue McLennan's Hibiscus Coast Raiders on 14, tied with the Pukekohe Pythons in fourth. And then we've got this little bit of a log jam happening here, where we've got 13 points for Manukau, Otara, Newlyn, Northern, all tied on 10. And then the next group back is Mount Wellington, Pakuranga, Waitemata, Ponsonby, and Papatoi Toi at the bottom. Now going to welcome in my commentary partner, Troy Hardy. And Troy, as we look at this ladder, which has been congested right the way through, safe to say there's probably a couple of teams, although it's still very close on the ladder, you would think Te Aratu and Ellerslie, given the games they've got remaining, they've put themselves in a pretty good position to progress here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think they were in good stead. Hibiscus Coast, very fortunate to talk to Bluey McLennan this morning, and he's in great spirits. So great to catch up with Brian on the phone. And, he can't be underestimated. Pukekohe staying in touch there, and they've got good personnel out there at Pukekohe, so I think they're going to be very competitive right down to the wire. And the dark horse for the year, which have got a great bunch of young players that have kept together on their roster, is Manukau Magpies. And, having a look at them, they're within a hair's breadth. So, at this stage, really, really competitive.
Now, a reminder that the top four from this competition will advance to the Fox Championship proper, joining the bottom four teams from the First Division competition. And our two teams we're streaming today in danger of being in that group. Now, we will turn our attention to the Fox Memorial Premiership qualifiers and a look at some of the results from last weekend. And the Howick Hornets got up in our live stream game 24-14 over the Otahu Leopards. Now, this was a pretty good game. Carlos Hotini had a good game. Nick Wilson as well through the middle of the park. Northcote were big winners, 44-20 over the Mangere East Hawks. Mount Albert got up over Manurewa 30-10. This was a close game throughout, but in the end, in that final corner, Mount Albert just running away with it. The Glenora Bears 48-16 winners over the Richmond Bulldogs. The Marist Saints 43-22 winners over Papakura. And the Point Chevalier Pirates edging past the Barrow School Vikings 26-22, the result in that one. Now we'll bring up the ladder for the First Division. And at the top it is the Northcote Tigers, a perfect 7 from 7, 14 competition points tucked in. Just behind them, it is the Root Rooster holders, the Mount Albert Lions, tied on points with the Howick Hornets. Now, they clash today. That's going to be a huge match.
Absolutely. So, I've had a luxury morning. I also talked to John Ackland this morning, and he's certainly, geared up for this one. And what a fabulous game that's going to be, the Mount Albert Lions against the Howick Hornets. And, it's a wonder that we couldn't convince the ARL board to have 2 live streaming units, because that would be a game that we would have covered today as well. Yeah, fantastic.
It's a big round, which we'll touch on in a minute when we go through the fixtures. But rounding out the top 4 is Glenora, and then just 2 points back is Otahu and Marist on 8 points. The further 2 back, Point Chevalier, and then it's Bay Roskill, Mangere East, Richmond, Papakura, and Manurewa. And looking at that ladder, you can see how important this game is, particularly for the Richmond Bulldogs, who currently sit in that drop zone. Now we're going to run you through the games which will be played today in the competition, and it's a huge round. All of the top 4 meet. Northcote take on Glenora, and then the game we've already touched on, Mount Albert up against Howick. 2 massive games in terms of, I guess, the future of this competition and the look of that top 4. The other games, Bay Roskill up against Otahu Leopards at Blockhouse Bay. Reserve our game today, Richmond vs Point Chevalier. Manurewa play Papakura. Now, this will draw a big crowd to Mountford Park. It's a bit of a rivalry match here. No love lost between those 2 teams. And the remaining game, the Mangere East Hawks up against the Marist Saints. And Troy, that's a big game for the Mangere East Hawks, who have shown some good signs this year, but are in real danger of being part of that bottom group.
Yeah, surprising. They're coached well. They've got great depth there, and young team again. Can't help but just reflect back to the Papakura Manurewa clash that you touched on. You're right. That's going to be an absolute humdinger, and I don't think there's going to be any love lost in that clash today.
Yeah, certainly a big round, and plenty to look forward to. All of the results and match reports will be available on aucklandleague.co.nz in the half hour or hour after today's match, and of course ladder updates for you early in the week. All right, Troy, looking at these two teams today. Now, the first one we need to touch on, Point Chevalier just rolled out a reserve team which featured a couple of names such as, I believe, Matty Tuitama, Dylan Moses, Arden McCarthy, which probably speaks to the depth of this team, but perhaps also that if you're not performing, you're not part of the team, which was what Coach Foley Soui touched on in the pre-match interview.
Yep, well, that's obviously sent a clear message, and, those guys are very experienced, and, this is probably the time to do it as they get down to the business end of the season. And, wanting everybody on the same page.
Now, we look at this Richmond team. We've seen them going through their warm-ups there. Look, they're in a little bit of trouble at the bottom of the ladder, but you do get the feeling here that they think if they can get a little bit of confidence, they can probably string a result together. We've seen Richmond in the previous years have probably been accustomed to battling away near the bottom of the ladder, but you do get the feeling there's still some confidence around this place.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I think they were probably one of the first teams to set benchmark in regards to, maybe half a dozen seasons back, if you drop down to the old Sharman Cup format and, come back up to playing Fox, you'd struggle, and they came back up, they stuck it out, they stayed there. They've managed to, with a very young roster, to stay in the middle of the pack. And just due to the competition changing its format this year, they find them in this situation. However, they'll be competitive today, and there's a lot of confidence, as you heard from Gus.
All right, we're going to run you through the two teams and how they will take the field today, starting with Richmond. And the team list on screen will resemble almost nothing of the way they will actually take the field today. There have been a number of late changes. One thing that is the same is the captain, Matrix Kauhiva, is still the captain, and he is still the fullback. Gerard Villi is joined by Lopati Tupai on the wing, Taniela Taufu and Mikey Limafa. The halves are Lulia and Mani. Up front, watch for Tuki Kamanapo, a really talented young front rower. He will give them plenty of go forward. Harrison Sutton as well. We've seen him in action for Northcote in recent times. He's a good middle presence who will no doubt want to make his mark today up against Point Chevalier. Some talent on the bench as well. The very experienced Leon Latour, 33 years of age. He's captained this team and will be a guiding hand in the middle of the park. Watch for Kakoi Tongiu as well. And the big out for them is the number 4, Siave Tupou, who won't take the field. He has arguably been their best player this year, and a big loss for them. Now, turning our attention to the Ortex Point Chevalier Pirates, and they are pretty much as named. The back is Kane Talia. The wingers are Solomona and Faitotoa. The centres, Marlo Solomona and Harley Maynard. The captain is Sioli Makawi in the 6. Api Pawhairangi. That's a heck of a halves combination. Both of those guys have played at those higher levels. And Api Pawhairangi most recently appearing for the Vodafone Warriors reserve grade team. Paileki and Passini up in the front row. Watch for Gavard out wide as well, a damaging edge runner. And then on the bench, there's plenty of experience. Salinga Kapoa, Tavita Latu, Chris Seal, and Sione Tongia. So that is how they will take the field. Junior Fiu, the coach of the Richmond team, and Foley Soui, the coach of the Point Chevalier side, as they go through their final chats now ahead of a kickoff here in round 8 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership qualifiers.
And welcome into all of our guests around the South Pacific. And I understand there's a couple of diehard Pirates over there in Australia that always tune in to watch them on the live stream. So Barry Glennon, Lance Courtney, and your centennial this year, gentlemen. So make sure you get down there to support. And I understand there's also a big clash on Friday night next week with Marist and Point Chev as well.
Yeah, and had a little look at the team there. It's a Masters match. Some very famous names in there. I believe Stacey Jones slated to take the field in that one as well.
The General's back.
So very much looking forward to that one. Get down to Murray Helberg if you can. And part of that, of course, that's all part of the 100-year celebrations for the Marist Saints. We can see referee Price on screen just going through the final talk there, and it looks like Sioli Makawi has won the toss.
Good comms, eh, boys? Yep.
So Hayden Price, a referee we've had for the last few games. Now he's wearing a black armband today, which we'll touch on throughout the broadcast, and hopefully have a catch-up with Hayden as well on an issue which is certainly very important, not only in rugby league circles, but across the board. So looking forward to hopefully catching up with Hayden for a bit of a chat around that. So it looks like it's going to be Point Chevalier to receive first. Richmond come into this one following a heavy loss to Glenora, 48-16. The Pirates had a win, a narrow one against Bay Roskill, 26-22.
Coming my way. Yeah. Time out run, guys. No early. Here we are.
So into it we go. Round 8 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership qualifiers. Both teams hunting a victory to get away from that relegation zone. It is a spirited first carry, and you would expect nothing less. No reason not to be motivated today. A local derby game, and for Point Chevalier a chance to put a little bit of breathing distance between themselves and that bottom 4. And Richmond, well, it's almost getting to must-win territory for them as they hunt to survive in the First Division for the remainder of the year. This is Coma Sampson now, the vastly experienced player who's played for the Junior Warriors and spent time over in France as well. And now Kenny Gavitt will take them up towards halfway. They're about 5 short now. And keen to move the ball on. Sampson will end up with it again. Thought about an offload and instead takes the tackle right on halfway. Quick play of the ball, and Point Chevalier are going to go straight for this right edge now. Marlo Solomona will kick back in field, and it's fielded by Kalhiva, the captain, who returns nicely as well. So a quality first set there for the Point Chevalier Pirates, who have, by their own admission, made a horror start to this year. Dropped a number of games and only managed to pick up 3 victories to date. Some heavy defeats in there as well, which would be concerning. But hope that they may have turned the corner last week with a 26-22 victory over the Bay Roskill Vikings. So on a positive for them, they have got many of the top teams out of the way in the draw and now face some of those teams closer down to the bottom of the ladder, although Troy, I'm not sure that helps because those teams are just as desperate down the bottom of the ladder as well. Now, Point Chevalier defend that set nicely there, although now they're to a kick, and it's play on as the call. They get the offload away. Richmond are going to open the scoring. Out of nowhere, an attack down the right-hand side, and it finishes with the halfback, Shaden Money, scoring the try. Nalatel Fu with a nice touch down the right-hand side.
The SAS Sporting replay. Great end to the completion of the set as they chipped a little one over the top, got the great bounce, nice little handball back in. And nice little offload, great support play there. That made that try possible. And from there it was all classes. We ducked down underneath the crossbar. 4 points, Bulldogs. Well done.
So a dream start for Richmond then. Nice play down that side. Got a fortuitous bounce. And Mani supporting beautifully on the inside. Goes over for the try and will now attempt to convert his own try from in front of the uprights.
A lot of people down here today at the park.
Good off the boot from Money, and Richmond lead 6 points to 0. 3 minutes gone here at Greyland Park. And I'd hardly finished complimenting Point Chevalier's start to the game, Troy, and Richmond are down the other end and scoring.
Fantastic start for the Bulldogs down here on the home ground. And they'll be loving that, as will Gus, I dare say.
Time out run, guys. No early, boys. Go, Kane.
So off the boot of Talia, we get back to it. Bouncing ball, which is claimed by Richmond, and now Tuki Kamanapo will take the ball forward. A lot of these Richmond players, local juniors, they have raised through their system, and now the ball comes loose. Lost it as the call, and Richmond have recovered it. So play on will be the call. But something Gus Foley touched on in the build-up. Troy, a lot of these guys have been in the Richmond Academy in previous years. They've been here since they were little kids. Very much a family feel around this place.
Yeah, and it's been that way for many generations. You know, famous Arkoi family out of here. So many Solomonas, you know, the list goes on. And he touched in the build-up leading to the kickoff, is that these boys spent a lot of quality time together over the last few weeks building up to this match. So fantastic start for them.
So good meters on offering early on here, and there's a strong carry forward. They're 40 up from the line now, and it's Harrison Sutton that time taking the ground. Head back in field, ducking and diving was Lulia. 30 from the line. Kalhiva set to the left, and he will be the first receiver. Kicks back across the body. That's nice skill. The chase is on from Money, but on hand to clean it up. Api Pawhairangi, who does so and then returns the ball. So inventive play from the Richmond Bulldogs that time. Kalhiva parking himself down that left edge and then kicking across the body. And the Bulldogs are well and truly up for this one today as Kane Talia gets put to ground and Sola Solomona, I think it is, comes in looking for some work. Siueli Makawi, the dummy half, so experienced, can play dummy half or halfback or 5/8. Named at 6 today, but would assume he will play a fair bit of dummy half as well. Could carry forward this time, and it's Marin Murray. Out the back to Pawhairangi, who gets boot to ball. Richmond are back there. Kalhiva will take it on the full and looks up and sees a sea of green. And Pawhairangi chasing his own kick. They'll put Kalhiva down about 30 off his own line. Breaking tackles early on at Richmond. Plenty of desire in their carries. Perhaps a bit of a concern for Point Chevalier with some of that first up contact now as they work the ball forward out of dummy half via Tupai. Lafaeli to Mani. Nalatofu. Right edge they come. Mani holds it up, kicks in behind. Chase is good. Got a little check on the way through, and Talia picks it up. So the Pirates survive another raid down that right-hand side. That's twice they've gone there, Richmond. Obviously see a matchup they like. That time it wasn't far off. It was nice, creative play at the very least. They work forward now through the middle of the park. This is Kitiona Pasini. Pawhairangi on the ball. Turns back inside to Gavitt, who straightens up. Looking to wrestle his way out of the tackle of Kakoi Tongiu. Told to go back and play it again after the boys exchange a greeting or two. Samson puts it down, then gets hit for his trouble, and there's a little bit of standover tactics there as well. So plenty of feeling in this one. Casey Lafaeli was giving Samson the business after that, but they're well and truly fired up for it here. That time it was a poor pass. Coma Samson didn't have much of a chance on it, and the ball comes loose. Scrum will pack down 40 metres off the line. Richmond ball. Lemafa works it forward, a Samoa under-20 representative last year. Called in to replace Siave Tupo. 5 metres into the opposition half. Now, Mani on the ball. Doesn't he look energetic? Links with his fullback and then shuffles play on to Nalatafu. Shakes out a one. Player we've called in action for Mount Albert Grammar in previous years. Hard running centre.
Oh.
Good line speed that time. Get out and close it down quickly. Money will get to the kick. It's a high one across field. A tester here for Sola Solomona. In fact, it's Faitotoa who cleans that one up with ease. returns it nicely as well, eventually taking the ground under the weight of the 14 for Richmond, which is Dayton Tanuvasa.
Move all the way left. 11, 11, 9, 9.
Well, penalty there, and there's no excuse for it. Lafayette was called out about 17 times by my count,
10 metres, boys.
and still got involved in the tackle, which is well and truly inside the 10 penalty. And now Pawhairangi will kick for touch, and this will go out right on halfway.
Wait for contact. Foot. Move. Marcus, clear. Waiting.
Coma Sampson looking to make up for that earlier error. He's had a couple of good carries already, has Coma. Spent time in France with Carcassonne. Pailiki.
Back two, make it back. 14.
Nice little jump out of dummy half here, and it might go through here. Looks and support. It's Coma Sampson. Coma Sampson looming on the shoulder of his dummy half, Taufahima. And we should have a tied ball game. 10 minutes gone. Point Chevalier on the board.
Looking at the SAS Sporting replay here, that player lying on the ground, they're just slowly getting up. He was struggling a wee bit, left somebody out of the defensive line, quick hop out of the dummy half. Managed to break through a flimsy tackle there, looked like he was clear, held, nice offload. Great support play, and comes through next to the SAS upright. Try time, Pirates on the board. There was some vigorous chat leading up to that one too, Corey, from the Pirate side.
So Api Pawhairangi to attempt the conversion. Solidly built for a playmaker. Strikes it, flags are up, and we've got a tied ball game. Well, Troy, you mentioned a bit of vigorous chat. Point Chevalier would have been filthy with the way they started that game. It was only a couple of minutes old when they leaked that first try, and then a couple of errors to follow that, but a good response.
Absolutely. Both sides completing their sets really, really well. One penalty being given away, which really sent Point Chevalier off down the park once they got good metres off the kick. And then basically, from that, they sustained some pressure and get some tries on the board. Or a try. I'm sure they'd love to get a few more just quietly. So Bulldogs back to the halfway. Yeah, we're looking for a ball. I think one of the Steedens went way off over on the far side there into one of the neighbours' house. Probably add to her collection. And now we've got more balls than we know what to do with.
So Richmond get us back underway. 12 and a half minutes gone, and we're all locked up. A bouncing one, which was difficult down to the corner. Then Marin Murray bounces out of one and says, I'll have some more of that. Thank you very much. So a good return from the kick there from Marin Murray. And now we go to Eddie Pailiki, former Manly lower grader. Passini bumps them up to halfway, getting to a quick play of the ball now. They're getting a bit of a roll on here, Point Chevalier. Here's your try scorer, Coma Sampson, who fights and keeps fighting for a little bit of extra yardage and then manages to stay on his feet. That's a great work that time from Sampson. Makawi links with Murray again. Murray will take a settler, tackled by Kamana Poe, centre field.
Let him play it.
Pawhairangi will go high, looking into the sun here. Richmond, a tester, they go up for it. It's loose, it's knocked back. Kenny Gavitt picks it up. Play on is the call. Play the ball so quick, in fact, he didn't have a dummy half. This is zero tackle. They need to calm down here. Point Chevalier tackles up their sleeve. McCowie gets it. Double pumps. Solomona, try. Point Chevalier in again. And it's Matty Faitoa scoring in the corner. Quick hands. And Marlo Solomona sums it up nicely on the right edge.
Looking back at the SAS Fox replay, it was looking a wee bit scrappy here, and they were really trying to force the ball as much as they could. An untidy offload there. Good fingers, though. Managed to pick it up on the tips. Held up. Great play here. Just convinced that defender to stay on him. Good looping pull. And catch and pass. Winger in on the right-hand edge. Try time. 4 points.
So Matthew Faitotoa scoring in the far right corner, and the class of this Point Chevalier backline on full display that time as well, summed up by Malo Solomona following back-to-back sets. And now Api Pawhairangi will attempt this conversion from right up against the sideline. Beautiful day down here at Greyland Park. Lovely ground to come to on a day like this. Plenty of kids in action earlier as well when we arrived. So Pawhairangi looking to double their lead from a couple of moments ago, and it's struck well off the boot, but it's a well away to the left, and the score will remain Point Chevalier Pirates 10, Richmond Bulldogs 6, 15 minutes gone. And after that positive start, Troy, the Richmond Bulldogs, probably just their discipline letting them down over the last couple of minutes. Unfortunate to give away back-to-back sets that time, but just probably need to get a couple of sets under the belt and calm things down here.
Absolutely, and I think, as you rightly said, back-to-back sets, they haven't had the ball, so they'll be looking to get this down deep, I'd say, and get some fast line speed off the defence. Here we go, up high into the sunlight. Pirates managed to collect.
Just 3 wins to their name so far, Point Chevalier. Uncommon ground for them in recent times, as we see a strong carry forward there, and that's Pasini, named for the Samoa Okalani team, who will take on Auckland next weekend. Koma Sampson shakes out a 1. Still going as Sampson. Great work from Koma, who aside from one error has been brilliant so far. Some great carries and a try. Kenny Gavitt now, the Marist Saints Junior. They will centralise via Paeleki, who's been active early on. 16 minutes gone. It's the Pirates who lead by 4 as Point Chevalier go into opposition territory. Pawhairangi gets to a kick. It's hit, and they're going to say forward off the hands of Pawhairangi. Good kick pressure that time from Richmond, and they ensure that that set will go no further for the Point Chevalier Pirates.
Absolutely. So, Richmond doing what they need to do there, effort on effort. Good chase down. They get an opportunity now to feed the scrum, get the ball back. Lots of chat here today with the Pirates, hearing them sideline. Scrum sets in. Here come the Bulldogs.
Quick shift on here for Richmond as they look to come out to their left edge, well contained by Point Chevalier, who got up quickly. McCowie, one of the defenders involved there, along with Sampson, and the pair will team up again. Right on halfway and penalty. Little second effort in there.
And you can actually hear it. You can hear it, Corey, sideline. Part of the Pirates' tactics is they're wanting to slow the ruck speed down. And a couple of those there just, they got pinged for that one, just too long. And this ball chews off a few metres down towards the club side.
Apologise for the scaffolding in the corner of the shot there. We are fairly tightly wedged in down here at Greyland Park, so you may occasionally catch that when we go to the far left-hand corner.
It's the CTAS boys trying to get themselves on TV, our live stream partners. And thank you very much for making these images available to our rugby league fans.
Tuki Kamanapo gets the set started. They're only 20 out from the line here, Richmond. A great opportunity to score their second points of the game. Through the middle they come via Tongiu. Lafaeli is the dummy half, and they're going to come back towards the centre of the park. Mani misses out 1 and then finds Leon Latour. Fresh on the park, and his first carry is a good one. Lafaeli jumps out, ball is loose. Going to be called a knock on. Well, all that good work, and then a sloppy mistake, and they let Point Chevalier off the hook.
Yeah, that's a coach heartbreaker, that one. You know, you get a penalty, chew your way down the park, get all set for a fresh start of 6, and drop it on the second. So scrums forming.
Heads down, boys. Ball. Out.
Kane Talia, former New Zealand Universities player, and a Point Chevalier for a little while now. And they get a penalty there as well. So there's that discipline which we touched on just a few moments ago. And once again, the call was clear from referee Price. He called the player out, still got engaged. And it may have been Raffaele again who was pinged that time. It was. So certainly no problem with the communication from referee Price. But if the players aren't going to follow his instruction, these penalties will be blown. And as a result, Point Chevalier are going to start this set about 3 metres short of halfway. And it's Chris Seal back with the Pirates. Didn't start the season with them, but such a good player. Former Vodafone Junior Warriors Player of the Year. Represented Auckland last season as well. And Koma Sampson earns another penalty. Kamana Po this time it is. Richmond need to be very careful here. Letting Point Chevalier boss possession right now with these back-to-back sets. And now Chris Seal will line up for another one. Leon Latour and Kamana Po, two big bodies getting involved in the tackle that time. Nakaui's calling the shots on the right edge. That's exactly where they're going to go as well. It'll be a one-out carry first of all, and a very strong one from Passini. Tofahima clears the ruck. Seal goes to the line and dummies. Leon Latour's not falling for that one that time. They're 10 up from the line here, Point Chevalier. Sitting on a 4-point lead, looking to extend it now. Pafainangi to the line. Backdoor play. Talia into a gap. And Kane Talia will go over on the left-hand side. Api Pafainangi turning provider this time around. And Point Chevalier stretch their lead out to 14. Kick to come.
SAS, Fox replay, and pretty much a set play. We have a look here as we wait for the ball to be played in the slow motion. It was all set up and executed brilliantly. See here, just held up, backdoor as Corey said, and look at all of that open sailing into the corner there. Try time Pirates, 4 points.
It was a nice decoy run as well, I think, from Harley Maynard back the other way, which appeared to just a little bit of pause from the Richmond defenders, and that's all you need to be able to create a gap like that. So nicely constructed that time from the Pirates, and the chance to make this a 10-point lead with Pafainangi to attempt this conversion from the opposite sideline this time.
And good to see Salinga back for the Pirates. This will be the first time we get to see him play this year. Way over on the far side there. A lot of spectators here today at Grayland Park. Lots behind us too, Corey. Great viewing here at the home of the Bulldogs.
And I think we've actually had a change of kicker for this one. Maybe Kane Talia. I'll need to catch the number here. Strikes it okay, but away to the right, so the score will remain the Vortex Point Chevalier Pirates 14. Richmond Bulldogs 6 on screen. Jace McCarthy, vastly experienced trainer, one of the best around. Lucky enough to catch up with him for a story last year, and he's done it all. He's worked at every level of the game. A handy guy to have running messages onto the field for you. So Richmond prepared to get us back underway, and again, their discipline, they made to pay for it. Back-to-back penalties, and the Pirates take full advantage with a try. Chris Seal takes them straight back into it, driving those legs. It's a good carry from Seal. Another of the Marist juniors in this squad, as Passini now lines up. Look at the big boys. Koma Sampson gets the offload away as well. Lovely stuff. Talia looming in support. Great play from Samson, who's having a blinder so far. Right side they come. McCowie will kick. They're into space here. Faitotor is chasing. He's the only one there. Brilliant cover. I think it's Kauhiva. He saved the try there for his team. He came out of nowhere and gets that crucial touch. It'll be back-to-back sets coming up for the Point Chevalier Pirates, but great desperation from the captain and fullback of the Richmond Bulldogs.
Absolutely. The captain read that really early, summed it up well, and decided to go to the foot and put a massive pressure on the Bulldogs. But as Corey rightly said, they managed to defuse that, and ball's coming back to the Pirates' way.
So Faitotor claims and hands back off to Chris Seal. They've had success down both edges so far, Point Chevalier. Where will they go this time as they get to the back end of this set? In the meantime, Passini's going to take a settler, and they're about 15 out from the line now. They jump out a dummy half.
Bobbled it.
Taufahima, and the ball does come loose. No advantage for the knock-on is the call, which means it'll be a Richmond ball. A break from First Division action next week in Troy for the representative match. Auckland up against Samoa. Okalani will be live from Burt Henham Park. And, well, it's become a traditional part of the calendar these days, and a game we very much look forward to.
Absolutely. Last year was Tonga, this year's Samoa. So make sure you tune in and join us, especially all of our rugby league fans around the South Pacific. This is going to be an absolute classic.
So Nala Tafu gets taken to ground, and so important that they complete this set. They've been starved of possession in the last 10 minutes or so, and just as I say that, it's put down, and Point Chevalier have eyes on a straight counter-attack, and will do just that, and Api Pawhairangi will score in the far left corner, and there's confirmation. So just like that, an error. Point Chevalier look up, see space on the left edge, and Api Pawhairangi takes full advantage as the Pirates stretch their lead.
The SAS Sporting replay. Straight off from the dummy half, lots of attack on there, much in the way of support there, had enough runners through, and at that point she was pretty well clear sailing again, and we see another try going in over on the far side there. Pirates another 4 points on the board.
Only got themselves to blame for that one, Richmond. Working the ball out of yardage there. Mistakes can be costly.
Yeah, off the back of a handling error, and that's certainly a coach killer, that one. So they'll be wanting to, at least get back to completing their sets of 6. They had a few handling errors in the first half. Point Chevalier won. But a couple of costly penalties too, back-to-back, Corey, as you know, and that got them down the field as well. So try starting to open up at the run rate here. 18-6 on the board with the kick to come.
A driven one, which is good this time, and the Pirates stretch it out to a 14-point advantage. 28 minutes gone here at Greyland Park. Round 8 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership qualifiers, and the defending champions, the Point Chevalier Pirates, they're looking in fine touch today. They went down early in this match, was 6-0 down at first, but since then haven't looked back. And Richmond, well, they've shot themselves in the foot a couple of times as well. Still, only half hour gone here. Plenty of time for Richmond to find their way back into this one. They just need to hold on to some ball and start to build some pressure here against the Pirates. That's fielded nicely that time, and then handed off to Chris Seal. Takes it back into the heart. Look at that from Kamana Po.
Let him up now, guys. Wait, don't play it on her.
Tavita Latu onto the field. The veteran dummy half, and he's joined by Salinga Kipoa. So 2 changes in the middle of the park for Point Chevalier as they look to continue on with this energy they've built early on. Marin Murray gets turned back inside by Siueli Makawi. Comer Sampson lining up for another one. Wanted the offload as well, but was wrapped up well late on by Harrison Sutton. Latu jumps out, breaks out of the first one, and then taking the ground. And it's Kapoa, who's tackled just short of halfway. Pawhairangi will get to his kick. It's going to go behind the winger, and Tupai is going to have to turn around and get this. And will get out of the in goal. Well, that was bizarre. It almost looked as if Sola Solomona thought he'd run dead or the ball had gone dead. And Tupai just looked up, said, there's no one here, I'm going to return this, and does really well for his team in the end. So Richmond now looking to work this ball out. Last time they were here, they dropped it and Point Chevalier scored. Ball security, a must this time around as they jump out now via the 14. And get to their kick. That's better from Richmond, although it's gone to Talia on the full, and he will chew off 20, 25 metres, and then gets rid of Mani as well. Having a good game so far as Kane Talia. Sola Solomona comes in field looking for a bit of work. Haven't seen a lot of him early on. No doubt we will, though. Regularly among the top try scorers in the Auckland competition. A classy presence on the flank. 40 out from the line now, Point Chevalier. Latu to Pawhairangi, and the ball gets put down by Tongia. Nalatafu will centralise, comes in to help out that forward pack, who will be feeling the effects of doing plenty of defence in the last 10 minutes. The Richmond big men will change of direction that time. They chew off a couple of extra metres. Tongiu gets an offload away. It's messy. Cleaned up just in time by Limafa. Tanuvasa looked up, dummied, and then thought better of it. Eventually found his captain, Kauhiva, in his 5th season with the Richmond side, another of the former Marist players on the field today. Mani to the line. Looping ball. Was that forward? Well, it's picked off anyway. And they're lucky there was defenders on hand that time. Otherwise, Point Chevalier back down the other end of the field right now. Harley Maynard now comes in for some work. He's been impressive through the opening rounds. Sola Solomona, another carry. Jinking his way across field, chews off a few metres, and then the ball comes loose. It's ruled a strip.
You can hear the understatement there from the Bulldogs. Stop giving away penalties. Just makes life a lot more harder in the office, especially when you're at home. Point Chevalier kicking for touch, chew a few more metres. Don't be surprised if you see the set play rolled back out here.
Makawi had to readjust his plans after some good line speed from Richmond crowded him. Eventually takes the tackle. Latu now hands off to Comer Sampson. Looks set to play the full first half here. Latu jumps out of dummy half. Makawi, Talia looming on his shoulder. He gets the ball, then throws a big face pass. But it's put down by Faitotoa. A try scorer earlier in the match that time. Couldn't quite hold on to it. But again, Troy, you're seeing Point Chevalier keen to go to those edges nice and early. Looks to be a predetermined play for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've, shaped to do that on a number of occasions. So they're looking to go coast to coast. So get ready now for the scrum to pack down. And that would have been a try if, the ball had hit the mark. So Richmond escaped one there.
So Lulia feeds the scrum. And they're going to give it to Vili for the first carry. Appeals for a penalty, not forthcoming. Tafu now comes in field. Good line speed from the Pirates. Too good, in fact. Penalty called. Up inside the 10 there, Point Chevalier. And now Richmond. Oh boy, they needed that one, Troy. A long
Absolutely,
spell
yep.
of defence, and now they get a nice piggyback out of their own end.
Onto the far side to get their meters.
Wait for contact. Wait. Use the foot. Go. Well done.
Harrison Sutton will get things underway here. Nice carry forward. He's had a couple of good ones already in this game. Need some energy from their middles now, and they get just that. There's a good carry from the big number 8, Satapil, although he's dropped it at the end of it. So a killer for Richmond just as they finally entered opposition territory, and they drop it on play 2.
Okay, front row. Second. Wait, 2. Ball. Out. All the way. Wait. Go 1.
Chris Seal.
Stand off the ball.
And so much energy off the bench. That quick play of the ball. Low centre of gravity. And cause some real issues.
Move.
Latu. Misses out Sampson. Goes backdoor instead. And Selinga Kapal. He bumps the ball forward. The former Akarana representative.
Move off the ball. Ball, make it back.
Latu jumps out. Makawi looks to keep the ball alive, and it breaks down at the hands of Seal. But again, Troy, it was building out wide for them. They look really, really good when they shift this football. Richmond is struggling to slide across in time.
Yeah, and I think the grace and saving in that is the handling error. So it gives them an opportunity just to sort of reset, get their breath back. And as we get ready now for them to pack in, a wee bit of a conversation going on. I think some news between the outside backs and their forwards in regards to, holding that ball for a set of 6. So they need to do it. Here we go.
Less than 4 minutes to play in this first half. At the curtain raiser earlier, the Richmond under-18 girls disposing of the Otahu girls. A good game, plenty of ball movement seen in that one. And some nice plays scored by the Richmond side. Credit to the Otahu team as well, who refused to give up. Plenty of talent in that under-18 girls competition. A new initiative by the Auckland Rugby League this year, as Leon Latoa bumps this ball forward and gets a late offload away as well. It's loose. Tavita Latu wants his hands on it. Won't get it this time, and instead it will come out to Harrison Sutton, who will be taken down right on halfway. Inside the final 3 minutes of the first half here at Grayland Park. Kalhiva, the captain, weaving, and then they work down the right-hand side where they got their try earlier. Taufu breaks through. Brilliant last tackle from Talia. Penalty the call, and this could be a sin binning. Is that a professional foul? We wait for the call from referee Price. And it's not going to be. He's going to rule that there was enough bodies back. But it was a fine line that time for Point Chevalier. Lucky to keep their full complement on the field, but a good call from referee Price in the end, I think. It wasn't necessarily a cynical or try-saving play, but pretty close to it. On the attack now, the Richmond Bulldogs. Tanuvasa hands off and brings in one of the prop forwards. Up the back it goes. Lulia to Tongiu. Tongiu looking to stand up, gets the offload out the back, and unfortunately it's to a man in a green jersey. So once again, Richmond, they hand the ball over. Completion rate not their friend today, as Kane Talia now brings the ball out. And the Pirates eye going to half-time with a 14-point advantage here. Sola Solomona bumps this ball forward. Limited chances in attack, but he's worked hard coming out of yardage, has Sola. Latu, quick play the ball. Was that touched by Richmond? Lost ball the call.
Just going to let Richmond feed.
Yep, knock on from Point Chevalier, the call. So the Bulldogs, if they can get this scrum packed, may get another set in here before half time. They need to probably get moving here. By our count, less than a minute to play.
Keep going. Front row. Seconds, go down. Hold Pirates. Come on.
So time off while we readjust the scrum.
Play.
Referee Price getting in there to rearrange a couple of bodies.
Out.
Time back on, and we're back into it. And the carry from Villy this time. So the Bulldogs look set to have final say in this half. Limaffa bumps his way to a few extra metres. Tanuvasa rushes the dummy half. Tongiu will centralise, driving those legs. Last tackle coming up, or last player, I should say, of the half. Tanuvasa to Kauhiva. Kauhiva throws a couple of dummies in there, and then Mani looks to accelerate through. Ball goes loose, cleaned up by Solomona. But it will be called back, and that'll get us to half-time. It's the Point Chevalier Pirates who lead 20 points to 6 over the Richmond Bulldogs at the end of the first 40 minutes here at Grayland Park. A very short break from us before we resume with our coverage, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello everyone, welcome to this week's edition of ARL TV News. Let's take a look at what's happening around the grounds. The Auckland team was named. We've got College Rugby League and our live stream action. Auckland named. Grant Pocklington has named his Auckland Premiers side. They will take on Samoa Okalani on June the 1st. Played at Burthenham Park. Come down and support or tune in live at aucklandleague.co.nz. For full details on that clash, head to our website. College Rugby League. The chance to become kings and queens of Auckland returns this week with College Rugby League. There are 4 grades. We've got the Premiers, followed by Senior A's, Under 15s, 9-a-side and Girls 9s. Keep up to date with our coverage at aucklandleague.co.nz. Live stream action. We are thrilled to announce that we'll be covering an Under 18s Girls Clash. Catch us live from Grayland Park and watch Richmond take on Otahu.
Okay, we're joined by referee
12:45 p.m.
Hayden Price now
followed by
for a
our
rare
main clash.
interview
will take on
mid-match. But
defending
Hayden, you're wearing a
champions.
black armband today, mate, and there's a very sad story behind this. Talk us through what's been going on with your family over the past week.
Yeah, unfortunately, my brother Evan took his own life in Aussie last Friday. Very, very tough time for the family. A lot of family out here today supporting me. Had a big thing in Adelaide for him. Just showed all the people that showed up was unbelievable. Just all the people out there, you know, tough times. We got people to talk to, you know.
It's such a big issue in general life, and of course it impacts rugby league as well. We've had a number of issues over previous years. Hayden, what is your message to people who may be struggling out there right now?
You got to talk to people, guys. You just can't bottle it up. One person might not have all the answers, but if you keep talking to people, we'll work through it. Family, friends, we're all here for you, you know. It's just a matter of saying, yeah, I need some help, and people will be there for you, you know. They will be there, just to talk.
Well, Hayden, very brave of you to be out here refereeing today and to speak, and it's a very important message that you share. So thank you very much for sharing your story with us, Hayden, and on behalf of the Auckland Rugby League, our thoughts and prayers go out to you and your family.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Cheers.
Referee Hayden Price, ladies and gentlemen, joining us there to deliver a very important message. All right, we're going to continue with our halftime show now before we resume with the second half here at Grayland Park.
Hello everyone, welcome to this week's edition of ARL TV News. Let's take a look at what's happening around the grounds. The Auckland team was named. We've got College Rugby League and our live stream action. Auckland named. Grant Pocklington has named his Auckland Premiers side. They will take on Samoa Okalani on June the 1st. Played at Burthenham Park. Come down and support or tune in live at aucklandleague.co.nz. For full details on that clash, head to our website. College Rugby League. The chance to become kings and queens of Auckland returns this week with College Rugby League. There are 4 grades. We've got the Premiers, followed by Senior A's, Under 15s, 9-a-side and Girls 9s. Keep up to date with our coverage at aucklandleague.co.nz. Live stream action. We are thrilled to announce that we'll be covering an Under 18s Girls Clash. Catch us live from Grayland Park and watch Richmond take on Otahu at 12:45pm, followed by our main clash. Richmond will take on the defending champions, the Point Chevalier Pirates. Kick-off at 2:30pm. Tune in live at aucklandleague.co.nz. Now we're going to throw away to highlights from last Saturday.
Now only 15 out. Jethro Friend appealing for the penalty. Uiti Bao shuffles play on. Fuimono hanging on the shoulder of Olivetti, who's got eyes on an early double. Uiti Bao straight out of dummy half. Too easy. Jones swings it out the back to Hortony, who will kick over the top and chase his own kick. Look out, Carlos Hortony. Beautiful play. And it's going to finish in a try to Jonathan. Leopards their first points of the game. Total Purcell from close range. Too big, too strong, and Connor Total Purcell gets the Leopards on the board. He picked up in the first half. Been well contained so far as well. Papa now goes to the line, holds it up, and that is nice play down the left edge. It will finish on a Royd and Gillett try to Maave. Bishop to Hortony. Watch his footwork. Hortony to Voiti Bao. He's met well though, jammed in, and they were wise to do so that time. Emiliano Michaeli, who's had a fine game in the centres. Hortony jumps out of dummy half. The little Benji Marshall flick. Back in the field they come. Voiti Bao. There's got to be space somewhere here now. Otahu are scrambling. Jones dribbles the kick in behind. Wilson, there's no one around. Nick Wilson will score. He tries so far. Motumaave, dummies to Patillo. Instead goes to Whakatau Murphy, who will go over. Deserves a try as well. Has been really strong at the back after getting a late call up. And William Whakatau Murphy doubles the lead for the Otahu Leopards where the damage was done. Motumaave at dummy half. He will jump out. Plays to Holani. Holani, quick hands to Mikaeli. They get the try. And it's Emiliano Michaeli, a deserving recipient of that try.
Right, we're now joined by Nick Wilson, the de facto captain for the Howard Hornets. Well, Nick, a brutal game, which your body tends to suggest, and this one, boy, it was rough in the middle.
Yeah,